brings Jonathan to a hotel, and where the infamous scene, which I honestly think is probably the most greatest thing that has ever happened in this movie ever, is they bang in the elevator.
A glass elevator.
A glass elevator, yeah. So like, obviously, this is no like, no windows elevator. This like everyone can see cheeks and boobs and penises and stuff. So.
What's up, every guys? What's up, every guys? What's up, every guys? There we go. Yeah.
Leave it all in.
Another Dannyism. Okay, here we go. Yeah. What's up, every guys? Yeah, okay. So it's me, Danny. Hello, everyone. And we have an EX episode for you. It's going to be a Cinnamontography. And I don't even know what number we're on for our Cinnamontography. So that's my bad. But with me, I have one of our lovely plummeters, King.
Hey, the guys. What's going on, everybody?
The guys.
It's good to be here, Danny. So thanks for having me on.
Yeah. So this is going to be a lot of fun. And people are wondering why the two of us are here today. And we will tell you, okay? But we want to keep it a little bit more suspense on why. So, but before I really do get into like why King and I are here and stuff, Sam has something to say right now. Alrighty, check that out. Thank you, Sam. Thank you very much. And also links.animesummit.net. That's where you'll find all our social media, Discord, Patreon. You can also find Anime Plummet on there as well. So they do all of the trashy shows that over on Anime Summit we don't watch. So they're taking one for the team for us and watching all that crap. So
there we go. And sometimes you find a nugget of gold in that mountain of shit. That's the truth. Once in a while.
Once in a while, not all.
Not
once
all.
in a while. Okay. So what are we doing? Why is Danny and King the only people who are on this episode right now? I'll tell you. King and I are doing a Brat Pack review. What that means is we are going to go down a list of what is considered a Brat Pack movie. And what does Brat Pack mean? King, you want to explain what Brat Pack is?
Yeah, sure. So it's a term that is coined for a specific group of actors from the 1980s. Our movies are starting in 1983 and then will follow throughout the 80s. Specifically, the Brat Pack is a nickname given to a group of young actors who frequently appeared together in teen-oriented coming-of-age film in the 1980s. First mentioned in a 1985 New York Magazine article, it is now usually defined as the cast members of two specific films released in 1985, The Breakfast Club and St. Elmo's Fire, although other actors and movies are sometimes included in this list.
Right. So like 16 Candles with Molly Ringwald and stuff. Pretty in Pink is also another movie that is considered Brat Pack. It's pretty much coming of age type of stories, mainly set in high school and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, the core members of the Brat Pack is Emilio Estevez, Anthony Michael Hall, Rob Lowell, Andrew McCarthy, Demi Moore, which I was very surprised at that.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even think that she was even considered part of that little Brat Pack. Judd Nelson, Molly Ringwald, and Ali Sheedy are pretty much considered the Brat Pack of the 1980s and stuff like that. So, and so King and I, why are we doing this? So honestly, just for shits and giggles, I think on Discord, um, oh, I do remember why we're doing this.
You're like, wait, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Why are we doing this?
So on Discord, King mentioned that you watched St. Elmo's Fire not too long ago.
That's right.
And
That's right.
yeah, and you said that you weren't really a fan of it. And then I contradicted and was all like, yeah, but it's so good. Like, that's the whole point of it and everything. Like, you're not supposed to like the characters and stuff. So, and then I think you just like casually mentioned, oh, like Brat Pack like review with Nick, with King and Danny, and some chimed in a few things and stuff like that. So yes, that's pretty much the main reason on how it started and why we're doing this little kind of like series and stuff. This isn't going to be a weekly thing. King and I kind of haven't really established on how we're going to distribute or like pretty much when we're going to be recording these, because how I did it, I went down the list, that the list of movies that are considered part of the Brat Pack. So, and I ran it down to like 10 movies, and before we were recording, we were even talking about another movie. So it might be 11 movies. So who knows?
We'll see.
um, so we're going to be doing at least 2 movies in one episode. That way we can cover our grounds with 2 movies versus just like doing 1 movie at a time. So because I don't know about you, King, but sometimes like if I'm not liking a movie or I have nothing to say really, like I'm
Right.
just like, it sucks, just move on kind of
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
And then we just move to another topic kind of thing.
100%.
So yeah, so that's kind of what we're going to be doing with this. And also just to geek out on movies and stuff. I have definitely been slacking on my movie watching and everything like that. So, and this is honestly a great opportunity for me to get back into just movie watching and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm actually really excited about this. So, yeah, King, do you have anything that you want to add before we crack down on these 2 wonderful movies?
No, I mean,
That I
think you
haven't
said it
even
best.
mentioned which ones that we're gonna watch.
I know, it's so suspenseful right now. I love it. I just feel the same way. It's exciting to get to dive back into some of these movies. I don't know about you personally, but I watched a fair amount of these movies in high school. When I think these movies are made for high schoolers. I mean,
Yeah.
right off the bat, one of the most popular and probably the fan favorite is going to be Breakfast Club. So I'm looking
Oh,
forward to
that
that
is
episode.
okay. I'm gonna say it right now. The Breakfast Club is my all-time favorite movie.
Oh, here
Like,
we go.
like that one. That I'm not even gonna talk. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say. It's my all-time favorite movie. We're gonna talk about it later on. So, and that's it.
Teen Danny and Teen King would have been so cool with each other, because in high school, that movie meant so much to me. We can gush about that later.
Yeah.
And honestly, what spurred this all on is shout out to my older sister. I think she would be considered like Queen Regent, I guess is what I would call her, Queen Regent, my older sister.
Okay.
And she said we were just hanging out a couple weeks ago, and we saw St. Elmo's Fire on HBO. A lot of these movies you can find on streaming services, and I'm like, oh, I never saw this one. She's like, what? You have to watch this. So once I saw that, I commented. Danny responded. We started going back and forth. I'm like, oh, there's something here. Like, let's go back. Let's take a step back. And I'm excited for just to dig into all of this, because there are movies on this list I've never heard of, I've never seen. There's some of my favorites on here. Weird Science is sticking out to me. I like loved that movie as a kid.
Yes.
So there's gonna
Yes.
be, we're gonna talk about great 80s music. We're gonna talk about cheesy
Mhm.
80s music. We're gonna talk about, there's fashion, there's drugs, there's sex,
Big
there's
hair.
drama. The biggest Demi Moore's hair in St. Elmo's Fire is gigantic. So I just have a big affinity for the 1980s. I love the music, the style. I'm just like, enthralled by all of it. And it's had a resurgent with like Stranger Things and all of these
Mhm.
shows that are referencing it. So I'm excited to get
Yeah.
started. And Danny, I'll let you take it away from there.
Alrighty, awesome. So the movies that King and I are going to be covering for this episode is Class and Repo Man. We're going so so again, I pretty much listed out 10 movies, and also King asked, okay, so which movies do we want to do first? And I suggested let's just do it chronological order. That way we're not fighting, oh, let's just do this one first, blah blah blah. This is a fan favorite, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. So I just figured let's just take away the arguments on which ones we should do first and just do chronological order. And so we're going to first talk about Class, which got released in 1983. And then we will end it with Repo Man, which came out in 1984. So let's get started. So Class, uh, directed by Louis John Carlino.
Mhm.
Yes. Okay. Louis John Carlino, old school director, born in the 30s. It's starring Rob Lowe, Jacqueline Bisset, uh, Andrew McCarthy, and Cliff Robertson. The plot, pretty much, a young man goes to private school, spends one crazy night, but soon realizes the woman he hooked up with was not who he expected.
Oh boy, was she not?
Um,
That's the big reveal, folks. That's like the big reveal of the whole movie is like,
That's
who
actually a
is this
pretty good,
woman?
yeah, that's pretty like a good clean sweep, like one sentence
Yeah.
plot on about this movie. So, and the Brat Pack members that are in this movie is, of course, Rob Lowe and Andrew McCarthy. Um, I think this was actually his for Andrew McCarthy's film debut,
Yep.
I believe.
Yes, it
So,
was.
um, release date for this movie was July 22nd, 1983. It's 98 minutes long. The budget for it is 7 million, and the box office it made 21.6 million.
That's a good profit right there too.
That
$7 million for a
yeah,
movie is like unheard of today. That's
yeah,
such a like low amount of money to make
yeah,
a film.
yeah. I mean, in the 80s, that definitely succeeded its low budget of 7
Mm-hmm.
million. So, um, yeah, so that's pretty much it. King, what are our lovely thoughts about Class?
You know, so this is one of those films that I had never really heard of
Me neither.
or what, I had never seen it or anything.
Yeah, and neither have I.
Yeah,
So
and
we're in the same boat.
we're in the same boat together.
Yeah.
I'm more familiar with Andrew McCarthy in his later works, which are, I think he's in is he in he's either in Pretty in Pink or 16 Candles. I can't
So
remember which one.
he's in Pretty in Pink.
Yep.
That's where I was first introduced to Andrew McCarthy.
Yeah. And
So
I
and
for
he's in
folks
St. Elmo's Fire too.
that exactly. So that's what else I know him. And for folks at home, um Andrew McCarthy, who I'm probably going to focus a lot more on than Rob Lowe, McCarthy's the star of this film. He plays Jonathan. Rob Lowe plays Skip, his roommate and best friend at this prep school that they're attending. Which, for folks at home, prep school is something you go to between high school / college if you're trying to beef up your grades to get into a good university. So that's the backdrop of it is fancy boy prep school. Um, in the last couple years, Andrew McCarthy has put out an autobiography called Brat, an 80s story, which I'm going to be reading throughout this whole series that Danny and I'm going to look at. And just diving off the back, he talks about this is his first call to like the major leagues of film. And what is important about that note is that throughout this movie, when you're watching it, you can kind of feel that folks are just not kind of just kind of unprofessional in all of this, in that you'll watch scenes and you're like, yes, this appears to be someone's first movie acting, because
Yeah.
it can be rough and cringy at times. Rob Lowe actually has somewhat of a career at this point, so he's a little bit better acting throughout the whole movie. But like, even Andrew McCarthy talks about in his book, like, this was a real struggle for him, even to the point of he didn't understand the concept of what's called a mark in a movie. So a mark is just a piece of tape on the floor, and it's like, hey, Danny, we need you to stand here for camera logistical
Right.
reasons, and if you leave that spot, it's going to ruin the scene. So like, he has no concept of where to be. So they have to like drill this down really hard, and it kind of comes through that movie of like, ooh, this is someone's first movie starring.
Yeah. So, actually, this movie for Rob Lowe, this is his second
Major
film.
film,
His first major film was The Outsiders.
right. Which it's almost, maybe we'll go back in time way down the road and cover The Outside, because The
Maybe. I don't
Outsiders
know.
for a lot of people kind of starts it, because it
Yeah.
has Emilio
It has a
Estevez,
lot of
Rob
it has a lot of
Lowe,
people.
Ralph Macchio from Karate Kid is in it, Matt Dillon, Patrick Swayze, like huge names from the 80s. And I love that
Tom
book as a kid.
Cruise, C.
Thank you.
Thomas Howell.
Oh,
A lot of people are in that movie. I'm just gonna flat out say it. I don't consider
yeah.
The Outsiders a Brat Pack movie.
Yeah,
Like,
it
I just
wasn't
don't.
established. None of them
No.
were really ready at that point to
Yeah.
do it. It's
No.
a fun movie. Maybe go check it out in your spare time. But
If you not have already watched it in high school.
yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, it's cringe. And actually, that's perfect for this movie. This movie is cringe at times,
Oh
because
gosh.
the main takeaway is it's young boys clowning around doing young boy shit. I took so many notes throughout this. A lot of it is chasing girls, buying alcohol underage, which
Losing someone's virginity, like,
making fun of people if they are a virgin. It's just like,
Yes.
ooh, like, and I'm in my 30s, and just seeing this, I'm like, yes, did I probably act this way at times? Sure, but I don't like to think about it, and it reminded me of those things, and it's like,
Yeah.
ooh, no.
Yeah. This movie, it's not a good movie.
but you know what? But Danny, there are facts to back you up in that. That's not just an opinion. That's like, we have a lot of facts to like talk about why that is the case.
Like, this is not a good movie. Like, it's just not. I don't even know where to begin. Like first of all, the very beginning of the movie is like, yeah, it's like your kind of typical, like, okay, boy is saying goodbye to his parents because he's going to a private school or prep school, whatever you want to call it. To me, it looks like a private school because it's at a dorm, like there's a dorm and everything like that. So, um, and like obviously you can tell that Jonathan is very timid. Like, this is most likely his very first time like dealing with like upperclassmen, for
Yeah.
that matter. So he's like walking around campus with his school uniform, and apparently that is like taboo, like you shouldn't do that you know, like who does that on their first day? Like who wears their school uniform, you know, like
He looks like a dork.
so
I mean, that's the mean way of saying
yeah.
is he's a big fucking dork.
Yeah.
or excuse me, the word they use, turd. He is
Turd.
yeah. He's like, oh, I'm such a turd, and they're like, oh, you're such a turd. So he's definitely a turd in the beginning.
Yeah. So, yeah. So then, you know, he finally meets his roommate, who is Skip, who is played by Rob Lowe, and they kind of like get into like this prank war.
Oh yeah.
Um, Rob first like tells Jonathan, well, Skip tells Jonathan, oh, like we're gonna be late, like we have to do this, and like Skip is like stripping out of his robe and he has, you know, lingerie on and stuff. And he tells Jonathan, you got to put this on. Like we have to go do this. Like this is a tradition kind of thing. And, you know, he kind of really like egged Jonathan into wearing this lingerie, and they leave their dorm, go outside, and Jonathan is outside already, where like there's like people outside, and Skip just locks the door on him, and Jonathan
Hilarity
is
ensues.
yeah, like Jonathan is just like running through campus wearing lingerie and just like running for his life, and he ended up like climbing up like a vine thing to get back into his dorm and stuff like that. And then freaking you know, Jonathan kind of like pulled a prank, like kind of showing Skip like how hurt he was
Mhm.
by the prank. Like he was crying in the cafeteria, and like he ran away, and like all the kids were like laughing at him because he was crying and all this kind of stuff. And Skip you know, went to go apologize back into the dorm, and he opens the door and Jonathan is like blue in the face, like he practically like hung himself. And I'm just all like, oh,
Oh
okay,
shit.
well, this like took a whole turn, like just kill off the main character of the story. Okay, cool.
And I want to pause right here too, because when you see Andrew McCarthy hanging in the dorm room, we don't know that it's a prank yet. So
Yeah,
my
yeah,
my
yeah,
first
yeah,
my first thought was, oh fuck, he's gone for the rest of the movie, and this is a movie about Rob Lowe's character. So
yeah,
at my first
yeah,
thing, I was like, holy shit, this is so dark and
yeah.
crazy. And I was blown. I was like, oh damn, like I didn't like Brat Pack movies tend to be they can be a little they do get a little dark in certain points, but
Oh
I
yeah,
think the idea is they want to project youth as a golden age, a fun time, shenanigans, etc. And in the first like 10 to 15 minutes, you have what you think is one of the main characters killing himself off. And you're just like, oh shit, I did not expect this. So I had to put
yeah.
when I was having a drink and I had to put it down. I was like, oh no, Danny, what have we gotten ourselves into? But it is just a prank.
Yeah, yeah. So like, you know, Skip freaks out. He goes and grabs like the principal or whatever, and they come back into the dorm, and like a whole bunch of other students like followed and stuff. And there's nobody hanging in the room or anything like that. Like it's just an empty room. And then, you know, the principal and the rest of the students like left and stuff, and then you can hear um um laughter in the closet, and that's where that's where Jonathan is, and he's all like, truce, like come on, like so they become best friends by like literally playing pranks on each other.
Yeah.
So
Oh, and that's that classic. It's a classic male kind of toxic thing that you learn about as you get older too. We did. This is something that we did as I went to an all boys Catholic school, so I also kind of relate to this movie a lot in certain aspects. But it's that thing of like, hey, I'm gonna be mean to you, Danny, but if you're mean back, then I'll respect you. And I like
right.
I hate that mentality of the classic thing of like, well, somebody was mean to me once, so therefore I'm going to be mean to you, and if you don't do it back, then I cannot respect you as a man. And I'm like,
Yeah.
ugh, what
Yeah.
cringe once again throughout this while we
Eh.
go through this plot. I'll be like, ooh, cringe alert, ugh. But now they have solidified their friendship.
Right.
He knows
Yes.
Rob Lowe knows he
They're
can give it and take
bonding.
it. They're
Yeah.
bonding as
Yeah.
men.
Yeah. Yeah. Um so then after that they start like chatting with each other. They like share some drinks because Skip, hijacked some alcohol and everything. And so they started talking with one another. Um Correct me if I'm wrong, King, but did Skip say that like he killed somebody or something like that?
Right. There's a scene where they're after they're getting drunk on the floor, which is such okay. Danny and I are enjoying libations right now responsibly. Once again, folks, always practice safe drinking, drink responsibly. Do not ever drive. Call an Uber. It's so much
Mhm.
cheaper. Um, but they're doing the classic thing. They just have a bottle of vodka and they're just shooting it on the floor. So they're just only
Right, they're just
vodka.
taking shots.
They're
Yeah.
just taking shots, which I'm like, oh, that's such a high school thing to do. I hate that. I can taste it in my mouth. One shot's fine, but any more is crazy. And so what they do to keep bonding is tell Rob Lowe's, what's the worst thing you've ever done? And he explains this story about how he was sleeping with an older woman, and the husband comes in, and Rob Lowe tells this convoluted story of how he accidentally kills the man. And you're like, what the? Once
Jeez.
again, you're like, what the
Yeah.
fuck kind of movie am I watching right now?
Yeah.
And it's all to get Andrew McCarthy to tell his deepest dark secret, which is actually pretty important to the plot later on. And
Right.
Jonathan admits, well, I stole a copy of the SATs and I got
Yeah, he cheated.
yeah, he cheated and he got a near
Yeah.
perfect score, which is going to have serious implications later on in the movie.
Mhm.
And Rob Lowe rebuttals, he's like, damn, dude, I was just kidding about murdering somebody. Like, I didn't murder him. When the man came home after I was, having sex with his wife, I just shit my pants. And he's like, that's actually what happened. So, like, Andrew admitted to committing what is actually, like, if you steal the
A
SATs,
crime.
it's a
Yeah.
crime because the SATs are given out by the state, and he stole from the state of Illinois, which is
Mhm.
super not good.
Yeah. So, yeah, so it's just like all these like goofy kind of just your typical uh 80s like rambunctious boys
Boys will
just
be
like
boys.
yeah,
Ugh,
literally like this
yeah.
is like a boys will be boys fucking movie and
And
stuff like that.
school and everything. And it's just
Yeah,
like,
like it's
ugh.
just very very typical for like an 80s movie and stuff. Um Overall, I honestly really did not like the whole thing. Um and as the movie goes on, Skip is trying to get Jonathan laid and stuff.
Yeah.
And like the two of them go out with some girls from like a sister prep school that was nearby. That didn't go well. Jonathan ended up actually puking in the car. Great
Uh,
first impression
yeah.
for the gals and stuff like that.
He
So
can't be around women anybody, like, he's just so socially awkward.
I
And
just feel like that's
uh,
just typical for a high school kid.
yeah.
Like, you don't, if you're not surrounded by women all the time, I guess, like, it can
You,
be pretty awkward.
yeah, you stunt your growth. And I'll tell you
So,
one thing, going to all boys school is a great way to pump out men who don't know how to talk or
eh,
relate or empathize with women. Like, I'm
right.
telling you, I did it, and I was lucky enough to have lady friends and girlfriends throughout high school. But like, I know guys, I'm like, God, you just have no concept of how to like interact with the other sex. It's so fucking weird.
um, yeah, so, and then, what else happened? yeah, there was just pretty much like several attempts to find Jonathan a date, and Skip even vowed to help him successfully have a sexual encounter.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that the Skip, Jonathan, and like two of the other boys, which I want to point out, there are actually a lot of big actors in this
Yes.
movie.
Yeah.
Um, John Cusack and Joan Cusack are, or Joanne, I don't, uh,
I think
Joan
you're
or
right. Joan, yeah, you got it right.
Joan
The
Cusack. Okay,
Cusacks. Yeah, the
yeah.
Cusacks.
Um, yeah, John and Joan Cusack is in this, and also Alan Rook is in this. If those of you who don't know who Alan Rook is, he is actually one of the main characters in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
He's the best friend.
He is the best friend. He's the kid that is wearing the Red Wings hockey jersey.
Yep, that's right. That's
So,
right. Yeah. So when we watch this movie, you're like, oh my God, there's John Cusack.
yeah,
Like,
like
and,
there's just like a whole bunch of like, and you don't see Joan in the movie, but you hear her voice
yeah.
in the movie. So, but you definitely see John Cusack in this, and obviously you could totally recognize Alan in this movie. So there are quite a few, not only Rob Lowe and Andrew McCarthy, but there are other big name actors in this movie as well.
Yep.
So, but yeah, so like Skip and Jonathan, accompanied by like I think maybe three other friends, they go to like that sister prep school to talk about a Halloween party that they usually do like a collaboration with. Um, excuse me. So, and they're talking, and of course, something happens. One of the girls who was like serving out the sandwiches recognized Jonathan and was all like, "Ew, it's you! You were the one who threw up on me," kind of thing. And so,
Yeah.
like, freaking like sandwiches and drinks were like flying everywhere. A boob ends up being flashed. It was just like a whole big mess.
This
So
is one of the best. This is one of the best forms of slapstick I've ever seen in my life. It's like you can hear the Benny Hill theme going on because it's like
yeah. Yeah.
because like everyone is falling over each other and spilling drinks and sandwiches, like you said, and it ends with Jonathan just like falling over and ripping open the girl's shirt. And it was
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
I was like, Jesus, they like the
Yeah,
material. What was it made out of? Like tissue or something? Like,
probably. And like not only that, not only were there like a bunch of girls from that school who were there, but I think there was also like the den mother or the principal of
yeah, the
that school that
headmistress.
was,
Yeah.
yeah, headmistress was there. So like it was just a hot mess and stuff. So Jonathan is officially banned, and I think you have a quote. Where did you put it?
Oh, it's is it why am I such a turd?
No. Oh,
What?
but no, that was when he was at the bar. It was the when the principal of the school was all like, Jonathan, you will be the first. Um,
Oh,
and I don't really say this lightly, but you are banned from that school till the day you die or something like
till the
that.
day you
Yeah.
die. And Rob Lowe says a great quote about this scene where his character Skip is like, well, man, I don't want to break it to you, but like these were the only girls for 100 miles by us.
Yeah.
So you're like, now he's
Yeah.
putting like geography to how you're not going to get laid. Like you need to leave 100 mile radius to get laid now.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, oh wow, I just saw your note. John Cusack swallows a cigarette not to get caught by the headmaster. Yeah, I
That
saw
was a
that.
badass scene.
That was a badass scene. And like
Yeah.
he didn't even swallow it. Like he just like kept it in his mouth, and then like when he was gone, like he fucking started smoking it again.
He popped it right back out because all like
Yeah.
once again, it's coming back to all of this is boys getting into hijinks and trying to avoid getting in trouble,
Right,
smoking,
right.
drinking, chasing girls, doing dumb
Yeah.
shit, and still trying to stay in school. because they have
Yeah.
to graduate and get to a good college. These are,
Mm-hmm.
besides Andrew McCarthy, all of these guys are rich prep school boys. Andrew McCarthy comes from a poor family. He gets a scholarship. So
Middle
like that's
class. Yeah.
yeah. So that's like the only difference, but that's setting the scene.
Yeah. So Jonathan is banned for life from the Halloween party, and he's even forbid to go to the school and stuff. And so, okay, Halloween party is here. Everyone's dressed up. Fucking Rob Lowe is dressed up as Jesus.
That was so funny when he
Like,
looks. I was like, you look like a good Jesus too.
yeah, total 80s shindig kind of thing. And this is where the plot or the point of the story starts to like
Yeah.
pick up, and like this is where the movie is kind of like, okay, this is the important stuff.
Mhm.
Skip gives Jonathan $100. He tells Jonathan to go to Chicago, go to
The Free and Easy Club,
Free and Easy Club.
Danny, if we find one, we're buying tickets to we're flying into that city. We're going to the Free and Easy Club. Yeah, the implication being you're going to meet an older woman who will have sex with you if you have this $100 bill.
Yeah.
And remember, guys, we got to. We always have to remind you they're in prep school, which is the idea of like you're either a senior in high school or like a year after your senior high school, and you're waiting to get into a major
College.
university. So we're talking. It could be 17 to like 18 or so.
18.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
young men.
Yeah. So, so then Jonathan was like, no, I'm not going to go do that. Like, that's crazy. Let's just face it. I'm not going to get laid, blah, blah, blah. And
Yep.
Skip was all like, no, like, you're going to get laid. Like, I guarantee it. As a matter of fact, you're not allowed to come back to this dorm until you get laid. And he said to Jonathan, you're not allowed to come back until you get the woman's panties.
Ugh.
So like as proof.
80s. Ooh,
Yeah,
cringe.
that is like such an 80s move. Like, you're not allowed to come. There's no what the hell is it? It never happened unless there's proof or something like that.
Yeah. And Danny, I'm sure you can attest. You're like, I really don't want people to steal my underwear. Like, I need those.
I mean,
I need the underwear.
So I was in high school in the 2000s, and no teenage boy stole my underwear.
Yeah. I wasn't in the because I'm like, even if I stole it, which I never did, it's like, what the fuck am I gonna do with it now? Like,
yeah,
what am I gonna do with this underwear? I'm not gonna hang it somewhere. That's so stupid. Like, once again, the cringe button is going off. The cringe button.
Yeah. So he made sure, he had to get the underwear and everything. So, okay, so Skip goes to the Halloween party. Jonathan's by himself in the dorm, and this is kind of where the part where I'm all like, don't go. Just don't go. Take that $100 and like go buy yourself some booze, or or put it in your pocket. You got an extra $100 with you. Friends.
You can make friends with $100 in 1983.
You can buy underwear for.
Yeah, you can buy underwear. You can buy alcohol, which will make you friends, and you can focus on your studies. That's why
you can buy the underwear. You can buy the panties and say, yes, I got laid. Here's my proof, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's why. But like everyone listening, we're like, we get it, Grandma and Grandpa. You guys are like, I'm like, stay in school and buy booze for your friends.
Yeah. Okay. So. Anyway, Jonathan actually ends up going to a bar
in Chicago. He takes a Greyhound bus.
Yeah, he does eventually go to Chicago and stuff. He goes to a bar, tries to pick up girls, unsuccessfully, by the way. Like, first of all, the woman that was like mean mugging him.
Oh my
Like,
god.
did you see that? Like, she was really honestly like mean mugging him and
Yeah, because he's a
everything.
child in a
Yeah.
bar that
Yeah.
is for picking up, what could be either sex workers or,
They
you
a
know,
lot of them
people.
looked like adults, like college students too and stuff.
Exactly, and just like a
So,
hookup bar kind of thing, and he's a
yeah.
child in there, and
Yeah.
and he
Yeah.
strikes out with like several women who are just kind of teasing him and making fun of him,
Yeah.
and
Um
that's
yeah, so he like tried to pick up this one girl. He ends up like falling. Like his foot went through the freaking chair.
like an
Um
idiot. Oh my god! Like, and the chair just
I
breaks
felt
on him.
embarrassed. I felt embarrassed for him.
Oh,
Like
secondhand embarrassment is one of my favorite feelings on the planet. Like, I watch so many things and I get it so badly, but it's like, ooh, it makes me feel alive and good. And if you have secondhand embarrassment, come talk to us in the Discord on Anime Summit because I want to hear about it.
yeah. So and then so he eventually sits at the bar. He's waiting for the bartender to like take his order and everything, but obviously like he's just being a pushover and stuff.
Yep.
Um and this woman comes up to him and starts talking to him, and she pretty much pulls a prank on him where like she tells him to put a quarter, like I can't remember. It was like on his fort, like he had
Oh
to do
yeah.
something with the quarter or
Yeah,
something like that.
rub it on his face for like a sensuality test kind of thing. And
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
just fucking with him. And it's because the
Yeah, so
quarter
like
has
because
something
there's
on
like
it.
yeah, there's like marker on the edge of the quarter and stuff so
Yeah.
that like when you do put it on your face, it's going to leave like lines all over your face.
Yes, he's got shit
So,
all over his face now, like an
yeah, so
idiot.
as this was happening, we are introduced to Ellen, who is the other
Played
character of this story played by Jacqueline Bisset.
You got it right
Um
too. But Bissett, you said it perfectly because there's a famous quote of her saying, "Bissett, like kiss it," and I was like, "There you
ah
go,
yeah, yeah,
Bissett."
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So, and Jacqueline, I mean, she's definitely in this movie. She is played as an older woman. She is not in high school or anything like that. Um, by the 80s, Jacqueline has appeared in some all-star films like When Time Ran Out, and she was also in Rich and Famous. She starred in Class, which is the movie we're talking about right now.
yeah,
And in 1984, she also she received a third Golden Globe nomination for the movie Under the Volcano in
yeah.
Best Supporting Actress.
By this
So
time,
she
yeah,
by this time, she has definitely made a name for herself.
hmm
So, yeah, so comes in Ellen. Ellen is, a party girl. She's like taken I don't even know what you would call that game that they were playing at the bar where like they laid down on the counter and the bartender just like
Oh,
poured the
oh,
drink in their mouth.
yeah, yeah. So she as she calls it, it's called an instant margarita, and what
Okay.
it is a bottle of tequila and a bottle of oh, the liquor that you would put in uh it might be they might have been in the movie they might have done Grand Marnier. And it's like an orange liqueur. And all it
Uh
is and I've seen this before, you lay on the bar with your head facing up. And the bartender takes both bottles and dumps it into your mouth at the same time.
mm,
And the idea
mhm.
is it's supposed to make an instant margarita in your mouth, except there's a lot more in a margarita that makes it
Right,
taste good.
yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah,
you're
yeah.
getting hammered and shit, but she can drink like a fish, which shout out to that. That's awesome that she can do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And so she's a hard partying woman. At first my thought was like, oh, this might be either a sex worker or just an older woman out for a good time, and she does this a
Right.
lot because
Hmm.
we don't know anything about her yet.
Right, right. We know zero about Ellen. Like, we know nothing of her. She is just the woman that is about to be a part of this movie
She
or
oh,
whatever this
a
movie is
woman
about.
who's about to say hello, and
Yeah.
and anyway, I want to sidestep too real quick just to give people the idea. I
Yeah.
think in 82 or 83, she is like there's like those People magazine like most beautiful person of the year. Like
Yes. Yeah,
she's
like
considered one. Yeah.
sexiest man, like, sexiest woman alive of that
Yes.
year or
And
something like that.
and
Yeah.
she won things like that. Maybe not from the same magazines or whatever, but like
Mhm.
like to give you an idea, like this is one of the most beautiful women
Oh
actors
gosh,
at the
she is
time.
so attractive.
Stunning. She's a
Yeah. Yeah.
gorgeous person, but like that so
Absolutely.
that gives people perspective like this isn't just a random person like Andrew McCarthy. This is a famous star. She's a
Yeah.
beautiful like world-renowned person and very
Mhm.
respected in her industry.
Yeah. So, yeah, so she's doing the shot and everything, and now she's just on watching Jonathan be humiliated by
Mhm.
this woman who is at this bar and stuff. And so after the woman left and was just laughing at Jonathan, and of course, Jonathan's self esteem is at an all time low because he feels like that he can't pick up women or anything like that. So he's feeling like a turd, as he called
He's
himself.
such a turd.
um, so and Ellen was nice enough to go up to him and say, hello, like, can I show you something? And so she takes out her compact mirror and shows Jonathan that he has lines literally all over his face. And that's when the famous line that King is so fond of is, "Why am I such a turd?"
And that line sums up this movie. Why
Yeah,
am I such a turd? And
yeah,
I'm like, it's
yeah,
because you're a child
yeah,
in a grown-up bar trying to have sex with older women. That is a turd. You're gonna come out looking like a turd, dude.
yeah. So, yeah, so they start talking. Ellen starts cleaning Jonathan's face and everything like that. Um, Eventually they start to have chemistry and stuff.
Mm.
They start talking to each other, and all of a sudden, Ellen. So, like, obvious, this is no, like, no windows elevator. This, like, everyone can see cheeks and
Yep.
boobs and
Oh yeah.
penises and
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
So, and might I add, the elevator has carpet.
Let's go. I love dude, the 1980s had to be the wildest time to live in because they were like, what if we put shag carpet? Because it's not just like, like a flat carpet surface. It is
Mhm.
shag. So like the little frillies on it. It's a bitch to clean, it's a pain in the ass to keep up. And it is just on the floor of the elevator, and it is the most 80s like set I've ever seen in my life. I'm
Yeah.
like, yes,
Yeah.
let's go.
Yeah. So pretty much, like, Ellen kind of took the reins, and cuz she kind of noticed that, like, Jonathan was very timid, and,
Mhm.
like, obviously they started to have chemistry with one another and everything like that. So,
Yeah.
Ellen kind of just became this, cougar.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
going to say she's a cougar.
Woo.
So, even though she was like my age at that time,
I know,
like,
that's the weird part. I'm like, "Oh, she's not that much older than me." But, like, she's portrayed as, like, so much older, and I'm like,
yeah. Yeah,
"Ooh."
yeah, yeah. So you would think like she's like in her 40s. No, she's like 30, like
Something.
33 or something like that in this
Yeah.
movie. So, yeah. So they have sex in the elevator, and honest to God, like, I think the most iconic scene is when they're like lying on the floor of the stopped elevator and the security guard.
Yeah. He's like, "What's going on in there?" It's like, "What? What's that? What's that?" He's like, "Oh, what the hell's going on?"
And it keeps going down, and he's all like looking up.
Yeah, it's so funny just to
Oh
see
man.
that. I mean, I'd be like, "Yo, those people are fucking in that elevator
Yeah.
with carpet, right?" And my like I said, the thing you notice most though is like, if I saw people fucking in an elevator, I'd be like, "Wow, that's wild." But if I saw shag carpet in an elevator, I'd be like, "This is fucking
You're gonna
great."
notice the shag carpet
Yeah.
before the people having sex.
Yeah, that's exactly. I was like, "What is going on in this elevator?" I love this. But that she's teaching him the ways of love throughout like the next several
Sure.
scenes.
Yeah, sure. Teaching him the ways of love.
She's like
Okay.
literally coaching him through how to have sex. Like, okay, don't like,
Yeah, they
oh,
eventually got
yeah,
to the bedroom and stuff.
yep,
So, oh god, like okay, so I'm gonna say like at this point, like I thought the movie was going to like pick up. Like I thought, okay, the woman of this story is finally here.
yeah,
Like we're gonna get to like the point of the story and everything. So because I think by the time Jonathan meets Ellen, it's already like 45 minutes into the movie,
yeah.
right?
We're almost halfway done by this point,
Yeah, yeah. So I
and
was
nothing's really happened.
nothing happened at all. I'm all like, okay, so when is this woman gonna show up? Like,
Yeah,
I don't understand. So yeah, and at this point, like in my opinion, like this whole affair between Jonathan and Ellen was actually pretty decent. Like I actually kind of liked that story. I
yeah,
didn't care for the prep school story. Like
no,
I honestly cared about their love story in all honesty. Like I cared about the affair and stuff.
oh yeah,
So,
no. I agree with you. There's something beautiful about it because but it's important to know. Jonathan has been lying about his age this entire time.
right.
He
Yeah.
says he's
So
in
that was the thing too.
university,
Yeah, yeah.
but
Yeah.
and
So, yeah. Go ahead, King.
oh
Go
yeah,
ahead.
and she's like I said, teaching him the way of love. They're having fun together. He's going to see her on weekends. They go out drinking and dancing and shopping and all of this stuff. And like they're having fun
They even go to
together.
New York
They
together.
even go to New York together. And it's
Yeah.
this thing
Yeah,
of
yeah.
like he's like, I am having like a blast with you and I want to spend all my time with you. But it's under false pretenses because he is lying and later on we'll find out that she is also lying about some
Yeah.
stuff. But
Yeah, yeah.
eventually she catches wind of what's going, like this is a kid and she's
Mhm.
not, she finds out, she sees she finds his ID and she's like fuck this and is like out.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So like yeah, so eventually Ellen finds out and everything cuz also Jonathan confessed his feelings for Ellen too.
Yes. He does
Like
say he
and
loves her, yeah.
yeah, and that kind of like took Ellen a step back a little bit because she was just considering this just as a fling and stuff like that and they were just having a good time.
Yeah.
Um she wasn't by no means like even considered on having a relationship with Jonathan at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's kind of what happened and so Ellen found out that Jonathan is actually a high schooler um and he goes to a prep school and everything. And so pretty much at this point Ellen cuts ties with Jonathan and Jonathan becomes depressed. Um and Skip notices Jonathan being all depressed about this woman. Even Skip tried to convince Jonathan like dude forget about her, she was just a piece, you know, I want to say a piece of meat or anything like that, but like she was just like
That's what he's saying.
a,
No, I mean, he's like, "Hey man,
like
like girls that you bang come and go." That's his point, which
yeah,
is like
yeah.
let's not look at people as meat.
Yeah.
It's disrespectful. But I will say this is when I
Yeah.
actually, even though it's like I'm contradicting myself, this is when I kind of start to like Skip because his whole
Right,
thing
yeah.
is like, "Hey man, like we're still here to like get to that next level of college, to like, don't like, it's gonna be okay, like breakups happen.
Right.
He's trying to support
Mhm.
his friend just in like a weird toxic way that's gross.
Yeah, yeah. A big, like, man macho way kinda
Yeah.
thing.
But he's still trying to, he's like, come on, man, like, you're gonna get out of this. We're gonna get through the semester. We're gonna go on with our lives. Everything's gonna
Yeah,
be okay. And I'm like, okay, he's
yeah.
trying to be there.
Trying.
He's trying.
Um, so yeah, so to kind of put Jonathan's feelings at ease during Christmas, Skip invites Jonathan to his house.
His
And this is where,
mega mansion
dude, this
house.
is where you honestly see that these kids at this prep school are like for sure like they are from money and everything. This is like, to me, this is very Gossip Girl level
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
I know what you mean.
So,
Yeah.
um, and like, so he invites Jonathan over for Christmas. They Skip, Jonathan, and Skip's dad. I'm not even gonna bother pronouncing
Not gonna.
Jonathan's dad's last name.
He's not gonna
Like,
work here anymore, anyways.
yeah, exactly. um, Jonathan's dad is played by Cliff Robertson.
Yep.
And Cliff Robertson is also a big time actor.
Old
He
Hollywood.
has
Yeah.
old Hollywood, very old Hollywood. His stardom, it like he was in Too Late the Hero, which came out in 1970. That was a war film, and Michael Caine was in that movie,
Ooh,
I think.
love
Oh
Michael
wait,
Caine.
a war film with Michael Caine. Yeah, it was a Michael Caine was in that. Which was unfortunately a disappointment at the box office. So, um and what else did he do? He played the lead in Obsession, which came out in 1976. And he also did a Canadian drama called Shoot, which came out also in 1976. And he was also one of the several stars in the movie Midway, which also came out in 1976. So he has done so many things. He was in television. You know, there was just so much.
Mhm.
So um, so Jonathan Skip's dad is talking to Jonathan because at this point, Jonathan actually got accepted to Harvard. So, and Skip's dad is this big time executive for AT&T or something like that.
Yep, you're right.
And he also went to Harvard as well. So he's like, you know, pretty much his eyes are only like on Jonathan. Like, I think at this point, Skip's dad thinks that Skip is a like
Fuck up. I mean, that's
a fuck
yeah,
up.
yeah.
Yeah, like
Clowning
kind
his
of
way
tip.
through school and
Yeah, like he's not taking school seriously. Even almost thinking that Skip will never get to Harvard and everything like that. So he's really like enjoying the time with Jonathan and like asking him all these questions. Even like I think saying, you know, when I was in Harvard, we did this, and so make sure you do this, blah blah blah, and
right.
everything like that.
Yeah.
So, and then all of a sudden, you hear a door close, and you hear Skip's dad say, "Oh, we're in." We're in the living room, honey. Like we're having a couple drinks,
And
and
who
then the
walks
big,
in? Who
and then
walks
the big,
in?
the big reveal. The big reveal is Ellen is Skip's mother.
Wait, I'm pulling up my text because we'll text each other while we watch these movies on Discord.
Oh yeah.
And I think I remember even texting you yesterday. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh shit, it's
Yeah.
the mom. It's the lady he was
Yeah.
having sex with this whole time.
Yeah.
What? And
Yeah.
I will say, I will say, what did I gotta ask, what did you think when Ellen walked in? It's the mom, what the fuck? Ah. It's just like,
Um,
what did you think about this
first,
reveal?
my reveal was all like, "Oh shit!" Like, I didn't see that coming. Like,
Yeah,
honestly,
it was actually
honestly,
pretty, I liked
I
it.
I liked it, but also I low key didn't like it at the same time because it's all like, really, like that's kind of a letdown. Like, I was hoping like, I honestly I don't even know what I was hoping. I thought like, um it would have been somebody that it would have been oh, what would really get it was it would be if it was the same woman that Skip had sex with. That older woman,
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah,
like
yeah. That would have been
like
kind of
that
crazy. Yeah,
that kind
something
of
crazy,
thing.
something
Yeah,
crazy.
something crazy like that. So, but yeah, like the fat like oh man. And honestly, like the facial expressions that Jonathan made when he found out that Ellen was Skip's mom, like you like his smile went from smiling to like a major like, "Oh my god,
Dude, they're
this
both,
is my
oh,
best friend's mom." Like
yep.
I don't understand how neither Skip or Skip's dad saw his like did not see his expression change at
And
all.
her expression, because
Yeah, her
her
expression kinda, like, changed too.
oh, and her instant response is,
Yeah.
to take some we see her taking pills in another room.
Yeah,
I'm
so this
assuming
is
some sort
where
of like a like a
it has
downer
to be, like,
pill
a
or something.
yeah, it has to be, like, some
Xanax or
sort of medication. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm gonna go with Xanax.
yeah, yeah,
So,
and then they go to dinner, and she starts hammering down wine,
yeah,
which,
so
oh, you
and
shouldn't do that. Don't do
this
that,
is
kids.
honestly where my issues start coming into play.
100%. The reveal
Like
is crazy, and you're like, "Holy shit!" And then it goes.
yeah.
This is where the movie for me goes downhill quickly.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm just all and this is honestly I'm honestly with you with that, like, she starts drinking, like, drinking heavily, like, you can obviously tell that her demeanor has changed,
Uncomfortable, yeah.
like,
Oof.
literally uncomfortable, like, super like, the awkwardness you can probably cut with a knife, um
I don't do, and I don't know about you, but I start if I'm in an uncomfortable situation, like I visibly become uncomfortable too. Like I start sweating a lot. I start, you can like hear
Mhm,
me breathe. My anxiety, I suffer. I'll get like bad panic attacks, and like
yeah,
I have to get out of rooms, and I've run
yeah,
away from, like, physically I have run away from uncomfortable situations where
yeah,
I've sprinted down streets before.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so, like, that whole thing, she even asked Jonathan to leave the property. She was all like, "I want you off my property today."
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Oh.
I was just like, "Okay, now you're getting ridiculous because you also are attracted to Jonathan. It's not just Jonathan, like, you are also attracted to him."
Yes.
Um, so much so that like yeah, so like after Jonathan kind of like finds out that Ellen is Skip's mom, obviously he comes to more sense and was all like, I can't do this. Like this is my best friend's mom. This relationship can never happen. However, Ellen is constantly calling the school and wanting
Oh.
wanting to talk to Jonathan.
Ooh. And
And again,
oh.
this is honestly where like the rest of the movie is just it starts like it's so dumb. It was so stupid.
Yeah, she starts
Um
hounding him. And they don't give us enough attention because in the background, they kind of lead into a um we come to find out that Ellen, Skip's mom, is suffering from a type of neurosis. She has
Mhm.
mental health issues, but
Yeah.
they do not expand on it in a way that would
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
satisfying. And actually, it's funny. I read into this movie, and Jacqueline Bisset even talks about. She's like, the thing that makes me sad is they actually cut scenes that kind of delve more into her life to explain why she has these mental health
Oh.
issues. And she's like,
Mm.
they opted for comedy instead of going
Of
heavier
a
drama,
drama kinda thing.
which
Yeah.
is, we can talk about this at the end of the movie. That is the big issue with this film. Is it a comedy, or is it like a serious love, romance, coming of age story? Like, it's
Mhm. Mhm.
battling between the two, and that's
Yeah.
why it's an uncomfortable, weird movie. But she did
Huh.
mention that they cut those scenes. So all we know is that, but basically, it's kind of fucked up. That all they're like, this broad's kind of cuckoo, am I right,
Yeah.
guys? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
all it
yeah,
is, and
yeah.
I hate that. I hate it.
Yeah. They definitely, at least, like, Skip's dad definitely,
Is a douche.
is a douchebag. Like, he's a definite asshole to Ellen and everything like that. Like, you clearly can tell that the two of them don't have sex on a regular basis. Like,
Oh, they
if they
loathe
did,
each other. They loathe each other. Yeah.
yeah, it's like that typical, like, big money, you kind of just married him for money or kind of thing, and like you just do whatever you want kind of thing. Um, so, but yeah, so while all that's going on, like Ellen is constantly calling Jonathan at the school, wanting to talk to him. We come to find out that a attorney officer is at the school investigating
Mm.
the stolen SATs.
We're switching back, folks, just so everybody at home knows. We're switching
Yeah.
back to
Yeah.
comedy. Okay.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah.
had drama. We're going to switch back because this is when the slapstick comes
Oh,
back, which is,
God.
oh my God, this whole, yeah, the guy who's investigating why, like, somebody has stolen the SATs. We think there's rampant cheating going around the state. So we're going to inspect your school, which is like the dumbest premise. First off, I think that's so stupid. Like, that's not going to happen.
Honestly, the fact just to have like the little comedy tidbits that we get, like a fucking kid flushes an
Okay.
entire weed plant down
Let's
the
set up.
toilet.
Let's set this up because I want to. This is my favorite scene, so I'm gonna set this up. Okay,
Okay, go
so
ahead. You do it.
the boys, John Cusack, homie from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Alan Ruck, they are trying to figure out why is this state investigator, attorney, law officer, whatever, here at the school. And what we come to find out is that the boys at the university have been growing pot, selling like pills, which, and so, like, to give context, in the 80s, um, people just took like random speed that they didn't understand or know about, or
Yeah.
random downers. Like, it wasn't like Oxy wasn't a thing, and like Adderall wasn't really a thing yet. But so, like, they're like, we call them Zoomies and Zoomer, like Zooms or whatever. They had
Yeah.
like terrible names. And so they freak out. They're like, oh shit, he's here to bust
All
us
the
for all
boys
the
of the
drugs.
school.
And
Yeah,
there's this
yeah,
great,
yeah.
I think it's the best scene in the movie. The whole entire like dorm room rushes to the bathroom to start flushing down their drugs down the toilet. And you're like, okay, there's some joints, there's some bags of weed.
Yeah.
There's some pills going down the toilet, and then one kid brings an entire pot plant from his room, like it's a full stalk that's grown,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
several feet, and he takes the plant out and shoves it in the toilet
And
and
just like shoves it like he's plunging a freaking toilet.
Oh
Like,
my God, it was, like that. I was like, this is the greatest scene ever. And what we come to find out, of course, is that he's not there for drugs or anything. Like, nobody gives, like, he's there for the SATs. And I have it written it down somewhere. The best line of the movie is the bushy hair Afro kid who did the plant. He goes,
yeah,
I
yeah.
just flushed $300 down the toilet.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh God.
It's
Yeah.
so funny, dude. That
Yeah.
was good. But once again, comedy or drama, I don't know.
Right. Yeah. This whole movie was a definite mess and everything like that. Eventually down the line, Skip eventually finds out that Jonathan and his mom are having an affair.
Oh, heartbreaking.
Um, yeah, so like Skip ends up following Jonathan to the hotel room that he was going to meet Ellen and everything like that. And that's kind of where Skip goes and grabs his friends and like a couple of the girls from the other school to like kind of like cheer him up a little bit, because Skip obviously could tell that, Jonathan is upset and everything, so he wanted to cheer him up and everything like that. And that's kind of when Skip finds out that he's having an affair with his mom.
Not cool.
and
Not cool, bro.
and honestly, again, this is where the movie goes even more down in the toilet hole, like in
Yep.
the toilet bowl for me. You know, of course, they get into this big fight. And that whole fight scene was just so stupid.
Oh, it
Like
was.
them in the forest
Oh,
and everything, and like how how the movie portrayed the fight was like very kind of like silent film 1920, like sped up
yeah.
fighting.
Yes.
Did you
Yeah.
catch that?
Yeah. It felt like you. Which
It was
shout
so
out.
fake.
You know what? Nick would love this because it was like it was 1.5 speed.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
But it felt
Um,
unnatural. It did. There's like an uncanny valley. Like this isn't how people move at this speed while fighting.
no, no. It was so bad. It was just like, ugh. And this is kind of like where we're at, like towards like the end of the movie, really, and
Yeah.
like they're just like literally beating the shit out of each other.
Oh yeah.
They start out in like the forest, and freaking Jonathan has a rock.
Yeah, I thought during the fight where I thought this was going, I was like, "Holy shit, Jonathan's gonna kill Skip, and it's gonna be
Skip,
a
yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be a depressing ending." But here's the thing: the Brat Pack movies cannot end in like they're not supposed to leave you feeling like super sad or whatever. Like they're
Yeah,
supposed to give
yeah,
you a youthful outlook kind of thing. So like I should
yeah.
have known better than to be like, "Oh my god, he's gonna kill him. It's gonna be terrible."
Yeah,
But
yeah,
he did pick
yeah.
up that rock, and I was like,
He
"Don't
did
kill
pick
him."
up that rock.
He also
That rock was huge.
that
He
rock
also
was
threw
huge.
it at a fire
When they
extinguisher
make it
at
back to
Skip.
the school, he
Yeah,
throws a
yeah.
fire extinguisher at Rob Lowe, and I'm like,
Oh my
"Bro, you can't.
god.
You know what? That's a safety concern, and you can't be doing that. You can't be doing that right there."
Oh
Bro,
my
it's just it's
god.
a dumb fight that ends in
Oh,
back in the dorm room because they're both exhausted and beat the fuck
yeah.
up, and they just fall on the
Oh
floor.
gosh. So stupid.
So dumb. But it's this, and I hate these endings though, but this is such a shitty guy thing that happens. It's like, okay, now that we've beaten the shit out of each other, they start to like laugh with each other, right?
Right, yeah. Yeah, yeah. And but as you wrote in your notes, the point of this story is bros before moms.
Because they're laughing, and Jonathan apologizes to Skip.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
he gives a heartfelt apology or whatever, and he kind of conveys like, you are my best friend, and
Right.
I
And
don't
he
want this
really
to go.
and Jonathan really honestly did not know. Like, how could you
Jonathan,
know?
how could you
Really?
know? He did not know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's I had to write down the point of the story because what kind of it's kind of sad. What we didn't say in the background, the mom has checked herself into a mental
Right.
psychiatric ward.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
she's
Yes.
getting treatment or whatever, and but we're like we're kind of just like, okay, bye, crazy mom, see you later.
Right. And that was the thing. That was like so random
Yeah, it
for
felt
me.
unnatural.
I've honestly felt like they should have cut that part out and probably redo that whole scene. I mean, maybe not even have the scene with the father
Yeah,
there to talk to Skip and everything like that. Like
I
that scene was totally unnecessary kind of thing.
I would have
So,
loved a natural like conclusion to Jonathan and Ellen's relationship. Something
Yeah.
like a phone call, a speaking face to face of like, hey, yeah, like we could just write it out like, hey, this has been a wild ride, but we got to
We
do what's
can't
right.
we can't do this. You're my best friend's mom
Yeah,
kind of thing.
and
Like,
like a beautiful romantic kiss at the end. Like
sure.
sure, why not? And then that's the goodbye, and then the fight scene happens or whatever. But literally, it does become like, yeah, you banged my crazy mom, and she's in the wacky house
And
now,
she's in
but
the wacky
you're
house.
still
Yeah.
you're still my bro.
Yeah.
So once again, the point of the story is bros before
Bros before
moms.
moms.
Kick your mom's ass to the corner. Stick with your bros. And that's it. And that's the end
Yeah, and
of
that's
the
the end of the
movie.
movie. That is the end of the movie. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so Danny, I
Yeah.
have a question for you, Danny. I do have a question
Okay,
for you.
shoot. Shoot.
Okay. And we'll end every segment with this. Does this movie hold up, or is it
Absolutely.
outdated?
Okay, it is so outdated, and this movie does not hold up at all. This
No.
is I'm gonna rate it. This is a 2 out of 10 for me. 2 Oh,
Woo!
wait, hold on.
Here we go.
2 out of, $100 bills flying away in the wind. Because remember,
Yes.
he did lose that $100 bill because they went up on the roof and he's all like, "Hey, we're having a good time. Why don't I buy you dinner?" And then the fucking dollar bill just flew away.
Also, what an I want to take it back to Rob Lowe gives him $100 bill, sends him to Chicago to get laid. Why give him $100 bill? It's the 1980s. Where's he gonna break that? A fucking bank? Like, it's beer.
Yeah, I don't
Beers
know.
cost like 50 cents. So like, if you
Yeah.
hand a bartender $100, like, give him some 20s or something. That's so
Yeah, I don't
stupid.
know. I don't know. It
I
was
think
yeah,
you're right.
no.
I think that's
No.
you're not far off from the Rotten Tomatoes score, which is like 29%.
Oh,
Um,
yeah,
this
yeah.
this movie got raked when it came out. I actually want to read a quick quote to you from Andrew McCarthy. Uh,
Oh,
uh,
did he talk about this film in his book?
yeah, and he talked a lot about this film, and we talked about it before of like, why does this feel like, why does this feel disconnected? And he talks about how the director Lewis and the producer, this guy named Marty, um, so Lewis is like, I want drama, we got to make this serious, and Marty,
Mhm.
the producer, the money guy, is like, we need to capitalize on like Porky's slapstick comedy teen
Mm.
like shit, and they kept fighting
Mhm.
throughout it. And this is how McCarthy summarizes his experience at the very end.
Mhm.
So he's going to see the premiere of the movie with his acting teacher.
Mhm.
My acting teacher, Terry Hayden, went to the film and insisted I sit through it with her. Ever candid, she was modest in her praise and pointed out areas where I carried tension. The movie received generally terrible reviews, nearly all of them citing what we had experienced on set: the disconnect between teen hijinks and attempts at emotional depth. It did scant business. So now
Mm.
I had done a movie. It had come out. Nothing happened. Um,
Mm.
what we later find out in his book, Brat, an 80s Story, Andrew McCarthy doesn't have another film gig lined up for a whole year and a half. So this
Wow.
takes a toll on his career. Rob Lowe goes on to make a movie directly after this. I can't remember the name of it right now. He's a little bit more well received, but like, that gives you an idea of like, this is like one of the first Brat Pack movies, and it's a total fucking flop. Like, it does
Right.
not do well. Like,
Yeah.
it does well money wise, I guess, because we talked about that before.
Yeah, I mean, it did succeed a little bit. I mean, it definitely made the money, but it regardless, it was still a flop. Like, obviously, it definitely had a bunch of bad reviews and stuff. Rob Lowe's next movie he did was called The Hotel New Hampshire.
Yes, thank you. That's what it
Um,
was.
and then after that, he also did Oxford Blues, which is also another Brat Pack film,
Yeah.
because that stars Rob Lowe, Ali Sheedy, and Amanda Pays.
Yeah. And
So,
yeah, folks, there are so many actors and there's so many movies adjacent to like what we're going to cover, and it's just these are the it factor actors that are going to star for the next decade. So like
Yeah.
this sets it all up. I don't know. Any other final thoughts? I'm all set.
I'm I am ready to talk about another bad movie.
Oh no! See, this is where we can run into a little disagreement. That's okay. And I'm keeping a mind on the time, folks. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna walk us through this next one. But I took way less notes on this one. And it's because and also this is a way simpler movie that we're gonna talk about. Um,
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and introduce it. We're gonna be covering
Okay. Yeah.
Repo Man from 1984. It was directed by Alex Cox in his directorial debut. Fun fact about Alex Cox: he would go on to help co-write Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, that starred Johnny Depp, Benicio del Toro. That's a great cult classic film. This stars as their main leads Harry Dean Stanton and Emilio Estevez. Harry Dean Stanton, by this point, is a very well-established actor. Emilio Estevez, not as much. This is kind of one of his first. I don't know. So he was in The Outsiders, but he was kind of a side character in that. He was like somebody's little brother, and this is one of his like first leading major roles. The plot is a young punk recruited by a car repossession agency finds himself in pursuit of a Chevy Malibu that is wanted for a $20,000 bounty and has something otherworldly stashed in its trunk. So I come into this movie. And also Brat Pack members, Emilio Estevez is the only one that's really here. I come into this movie being like, okay, this is a movie about a young man. He's like a shitty punk teen where, he's getting into trouble. He doesn't care about school. He's hanging out with a bad crowd, and like a repo man kind of tricks him into the industry. And I'm like, oh, this is a story about a young man finding his path through like, I'm not going to be an office worker, so I'm going to be a badass repo man. And
Yeah.
and for folks at home, a repo man is if you don't pay for your car payments, if you don't make payments on basically if you buy something with credit and you don't pay for it, someone will come and repossess that item. Usually cars are the best example of this. So they'll come with sometimes they'll give you heads up, sometimes they'll just come and take your car without any question. So like,
They're
you
pretty
know,
much bounty hunters, pretty much,
for
kind
stuff.
of,
Yeah, they're bounty hunters for
for
stuff
stuff.
that you don't pay,
Yeah.
and they're not looked well upon in society because it's like,
Yeah.
"Hey man, don't take my shit. You're a piece of shit." You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so I think this story is going to be like, oh, young punk teen finds his way in the world by being a badass repo man, because they try to
Yeah.
make the repo men look cool in this movie. Boy, was I
Uh,
mistaken. This is another
gosh.
one where it takes quite the turn. Um,
Yeah.
so in the beginning of the one fun fact I want to point out too. There's a main theme. I think they call it like the Repo Man theme. It's actually written and performed by Iggy Pop. So that's like a cool, fun celebrity they
Oh,
got.
yeah. Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
something fun. The soundtrack, and we'll talk more about soundtrack in later movies. The Class soundtrack really isn't worth noting. There's nothing like great
There is
about it.
nothing there's honestly barely any, like, well-known 80s tracks in Class at all,
Yeah,
like,
no.
it's nothing compared to, like, the Breakfast Club
The
soundtrack.
Breakfast Club is good because, like, don't you forget
Yeah,
about
yeah, that's pretty
me.
much, like, the theme song of the Breakfast Club.
Yeah, and that song
So,
fucking slaps.
yeah.
But so
Before hold on,
yeah,
before I
please.
just wanna say, Repo Man was released on March 2nd, 1984. It's
Mm.
92 minutes long. The budget for Repo Man was, $1.5 million, and the box office made 3.7 million. So, it didn't really do that well at the box office.
No, it didn't do well.
So,
This is an independent film, so it's not like a major
yeah.
motion
It was
release.
very low budget, very low
Low
budget.
budget.
Mhm.
And I'll talk about this later. Well received at the time though. So that's kind of interesting compared to Class.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Okay, and I'm gonna try to the plot. like I really don't think we need to walk through it as crazy as much because it's pretty straightforward. So I've kind of set up what's going on with our main character Emilio Estevez. His name is Otto in the movie. He's a dirtbag punk teen. There's a lot of punk music in this film, so if you're a punk fan, you might like the soundtrack a lot. I enjoyed it quite a bit. It was cool. It was fun. Um, and so half of the story is Kevin dealing with becoming a life of a repo man. The other half, which is kind of the turn of the whole fucking movie, is while he's chasing down the Chevy Malibu that's got worth $20,000. We come to find there's a man who seems to be like going through some sort of mental episode driving around, and there is something in his trunk. The first scene,
Something. We don't know what it is.
We don't know what it is. A cop pulls this man over who's very disheveled looking.
Yes,
and the cop's like,
this is the very beginning of the movie, by the way.
Oh yeah. And the cop's like, "What's in the trunk, sir?"
Yeah.
And the guy goes, which is the worst thing to say to a cop. He goes, "Oh, the trunk? Oh, you don't want to look in that trunk." It's like, okay, don't say that to a cop, because of course the cop's like, "All right, let's open it up."
Yeah.
And of course, which is you're like, what the fuck is this? The cop opens the trunk and he basically disintegrates down to his boots. Like he's evaporated instantly.
Literally nothing is there other than his fucking boots.
His boots, just his cowboy boots. So you open the trunk, there's something in there that makes you evaporate. So right off the bat of the movie, you're like, what the
fuck is this?
Going
I thought
on?
I was watching a movie about Repo Man.
Yeah, exactly. And then we tune into to Emilio Estevez, aka Otto. We see Otto working some dead end jobs that he hates. He's being a punk. He's being a shithead. And then we get introduced to Harry Dean Stanton's character, who comes up to Otto and he said they're in a neighborhood, and Harry Dean Stanton's like, "Hey man, I am in a bind right now. I need to drive 2 cars to the hospital. My wife is giving birth. I need you to take these keys right here. Go unlock that car, my wife's car over there. It's an emergency. We got to get over there." And he's like, "And I'll pay you $20 for it." And Emilio Estevez is like, "Yeah, sure. Like that's
25.
easy. Yeah, $25. Like easy money. Sure. No
At
problem."
first he said 15. I'll give you $15 and like, or $10 or something like that. And Emilio was all like, "Nope, no deal. I don't do anything. I don't do any jobs below $20. And Harry's characters are like, "All right, I'll give you 25." And Otto's all like, "Okay, like, where's the car?" So
so he takes the job thinking that he's helping this guy with a pregnant wife. So Harry Dean Stanton drives off in one car. Emilio Estevez with the keys enters another car, starts it, is playing around with the mirrors and whatever. And then all of a sudden, a man comes running out of his house to chase down Emilio Estevez, and he grabs him in the car, and Emilio is freaking out and he starts to drive away because what you realize is, oh, this car is being repossessed, and Harry Dean Stanton has tricked Emilio Estevez into doing this job for him and helping him. This is when Otto drives the car back to the repo center that everybody works at, and he enters the facility, and all the repo men working there just look at him and they're like, "Yeah, this kid's got what it takes to be like." They just look at him like, "Yeah, this kid got what it takes. He's got the look and he can steal cars." And it's just so I wrote down, I was like, all the repo men know that Otto is one of them, and that's such a what a silly thing, what a silly concept. Just like, yeah, he's one of us. At first, Otto is very apprehensive.
Because he's all like, "You are all Repo Man," because what's the dude's character's name? Bud. They just call him Bud. Harry Dean Stanton's character. Bud gives Otto a beer.
Which I need to pause you. The
it
beer
says
is
beer on it.
The beer cans and every item in this film, they're not allowed to use actually branded items. So the beer cans is a can, and it in blue letters says beer on
Beer.
it. It's not a brand. It just says beer. And you'll
It
see
just
that
says
throughout the
beer.
movie. There's like a cornflakes box that says cornflakes.
Cornflakes.
Yeah, and all this kind of funny shit. So
But I
I
mean,
love
I feel
that.
like that's generally what happens
In independent
in
films,
any
probably.
in any like in the film industry, whether
Yeah.
it's movies or TV, getting getting licensed brand like drinks, food, whatever. I mean, it's the same thing in anime where like the Woo Donalds or
Yeah,
or
yeah.
McRonald's and like freaking Devils is a part timer kind
Yeah,
of thing. Like
exactly.
it's the whole like licensing issue and trademark issue and all that kind of stuff. So like they don't you know com- movie productions and like companies don't want to go through the hassle in trying to just get you know a type of beer name to be advertised in this one movie and stuff like that. So they just use basic like beer cans that say beer on them and
Beer.
stuff.
Which I was like, hell
So
yeah. I had a beer while watching this. And I was like, cheers to you guys.
that's
So
so funny.
so they start to get Otto eventually gives in and is taken under the wing by Bud and learns to become a repo man. However, and there's like kind of several scenes and montages of different repo men taking him under the Otto under their wing.
Mhm.
However, while all of this is going on in the background, there's like weird sci-fi mysterious shit going on that involves like men in white suits. If you've ever seen ET, think of those guys that are in the white like hazmat suits that are
Mhm.
cleaning like picking up dead bodies off the streets of where I think this movie takes place in either New Mexico or
It's
Arizona.
LA.
Oh, is it
LA.
LA? Okay, yeah. It's
Mhm.
LA. And so they're like there's these mystery men just like in the background of this whole movie.
Not and also don't forget about Special Agent Michael Jackson.
Yes. Oh my god, this
The
lady.
woman with the woman random woman with this like bedazzled glove for no reason.
Yes,
I'm just like,
and she's from
okay.
like the CIA, FBI, like she's from the government.
Yeah, yeah.
That's like trying to track down this Chevy Malibu as well. So there's all this like secret shit going on in the background. Um, Once again, coming back to at this point, lots of good music, punk, Latin jams is a big part of it, so lots of good stuff. Then we come to find out, eventually after doing some repoing with different repo men and actually coming into his own, Emilio Estevez is
Right,
enjoying
yeah,
his work.
he eventually, does join the Repo Men and everything, and because at first he didn't want to join them and stuff, and the receptionist was all like, "Honey, you're already a Repo Man," and like literally gives him
Money
money
for the car
for
that
his
he originally
contribution.
brought
Yeah,
back.
yeah. So and I mean, he takes the money, goes home, which by the way, Otto's parents like
Oh yeah, we forgot about
literally
this.
like super hippies, like you can definitely tell that like they're from the 60s.
Yep.
They're super gullible, will believe anything.
They're burnouts at this point.
They're such burnouts. Like you could totally tell that they're high, they're smoking weed.
Which
And
we
they're
don't knock
watching
that. Which we don't knock that because
we don't do that.
well,
Yeah.
I
Drugs are
imbibe.
bad.
Well, I was gonna say I imbibe, but these are like the classic stereotypical
Oh yeah.
stoners.
Yeah. So and they're like watching TV and they're watching this program with like this religious figure on TV and it's practically saying like, give me money, like this will help, save the world or something like
Yeah,
that.
he's like
And
a
like they're
Billy Graham,
just
Joel Olstein kind of
w-
guy.
not even that, like I got more of like Heaven's Gate vibes
Yes, yeah,
from it,
definitely
really.
preacher slash
Um,
cult leader kind of thing.
yeah. So, and like Otto is asking like his parents, like, hey, remember that time that you said that you'd give me $1,000 if I finished school? Well, I kind of want to do that now. And they're all like, yeah, yeah, son, you should do that. And like Otto was all like, do you think I can have that money now? Like right now? And they flat out tell Otto, yeah, we don't have the money anymore because we gave it to this church that we're watching TV from. And I'm just like, what the fuck?
What the fuck is the matter with you parents? Like, they're so brain
So,
dead. And the funny thing is,
like,
they're not even
uh,
pivotal to the story. Like, this is just
no,
a
no.
random weird scene that kind of it just put me in a weird mood.
It just puts it honestly just sets the tone of like the only reason for Otto to go back to like join the Repo Men. Like that was just more of like the stepping stone for him to like, well, I have no money and I don't want to fucking work at the supermarket that I was working at because I fucking hate that. So
Yeah, and he's also
and
he's done with his like punk friend. He's like, I don't really like my punk friends anymore.
yeah, like it was a weird thing. I mean, like he was at a party and like he was about to like have sex with this girl and the woman was all like, "Go get me a beer." And like he goes
Which that's hot.
down
That, by the way, that's hot.
he
When a lady asks you, if my wife's like, "Hey, you want to grab me a beer out of the fridge?" I'm like, "Fuck, that's sexy, dude." Like that's fucking. There's something attractive when a woman asks you to get like a beer out of the fridge. You're like, "Fuck yeah, dude, that's hot."
Uh, anyway, yeah, so like he was kind of like done with the whole like his life. So he wanted to start at a new life, and that's kind of like where we get to the whole like him kind of learning the ropes of like being a repo man. And you know the bigger the value of the car is, the more money you get, is
Yeah,
pretty much
they work on
what.
commission.
Yeah. So, if he succeeds in bringing back a car, then like he gets more money for that set car.
Exactly.
So, yeah, and like then there's Tracy Walters' character who was like the mechanic of the facility and
Oh,
everything,
he's
is talking about
so weird.
talking randomness and everything like that.
Yeah, it's the crazy
So,
mechanic guy that like if you work in a shop, there's the one crazy weird-eyed guy
just weird, yeah.
who's like, yeah, there's aliens out there, these are, and of course, what we'll come to find out, these are all hints about the movie, like, yeah, there's extraterrestrials, and the government's lying to
Yeah.
us, and everything's a scam, and of course,
This
what
movie
ends
is
up,
so bad. I'm sorry, King. This movie is bad.
oh, we're not even.
This movie's are so bad.
We're like
I'm
halfway through our
sorry.
review, and you're like,
I know
I had
it's so
a.
dumb. I'm sorry. Like I can't.
Well,
Okay, go ahead.
and we
Sorry.
can just dive right in, because what we come to find out
Yeah.
after,
Yeah.
because the repoing stuff is, that's like fun and adventurous, and it's like silly slapstick stuff, but like what the
Mhm.
main point of it is, what we come to find out, that in the back of this Chevy Malibu are the bodies, four bodies of dead aliens, that this crazy wired-eyed guy that we mentioned at the beginning, he's a professor that was working, a scientist that was working for the government, that he has snuck those bodies out of government facilities, with the help of an underground like revolution network,
Yeah.
that is made up of like this other teen girl that becomes Emilio Estevez's like kind of girlfriend,
Love. Yeah. Love
love
interest.
interest,
Whatever
love
you want to
interest.
call her. Yeah.
And so like that is like when, so this is like the middle of the movie that this is revealed, of like, oh, by the way, this is actually about aliens. And you're like,
Yeah.
where the fuck am, like, how the fuck did we get here? Cuz
Yeah.
I actually,
Yeah.
I kind of liked the like Emilio Estevez coming into his own as a repo man like plot. Like
Right.
I did
Yeah. Yeah.
enjoy that. Like,
Yeah, I was vibing with that. Like I said, like I was fine with like the whole repoing aspect and like the whole like feud with those brothers that Emilio was trying to actually repo that convertible that the two brothers were in and
yeah.
stuff. Like I liked that whole scene. just the whole and also the scene where Emilio was on his own and he went to that old woman's house and a freaking like just band of guys just walk into the house and was all like, "What's going on, grandma? Like who's this guy?"
Yeah.
And the woman was all like, "Oh, this is, Otto. He's here, like he says that he needs to take the car and everything like that." And like Otto's just sitting on the couch surrounded by like these huge men
Yeah.
and like he's like, "I got to get the fuck out of
He's like, never mind,
here."
because the important part of repoing, and this it reminded me too. I had a friend in high school whose dad worked for Verizon, and one of his things was like he would come and shut your like your
Oh, like
cable
the
down.
cable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
would come
yeah.
in back in the cable days. He would come and like shut your cable
Cut
down.
it.
And
Yeah.
basically, it's this thing like if you're in a profession where you have to go and either take something, you have to take something away from somebody because they didn't pay their bills, that person won't always willingly let you do that. So
Yeah.
you have to time it. If you're repossessing a car, you have to time it so that they're not home or they're not going to notice you because sometimes you have to break
Right.
into the car and hotwire
Yeah.
it to take it. So
Yeah.
like it can be a dangerous profession. So
Yeah.
like I loved all the repo scenes are really
Yeah.
are fun. They're like it's a
Yeah,
fun
those were
movie.
fun. Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
but once the big reveal of like the reason why this Chevy Malibu, which is not a very nice car in general, is worth so much is because there are dead alien bodies in it. That's when shit's bananas. Like we have gone off the rails. Everything I like once that happened, I was just like, oh fuck it, like let's go, like let's go wild, dude. Like I poured myself like a stiff like vodka drink and I was like, let's get
Oh my
weird,
god.
like let's smoke a doobie,
Did
let's let
your
it
did
go
your
out.
wife watch these movies with you?
So my darling queen has been out of town recently.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
she's coming when we do our next movies, which we won't announce now, but when we do our next round of movies, she's really excited to see those particular movies.
Oh,
So we'll go
okay.
and then like core Brat Pack when we think of it. This
Yeah,
is
yeah,
like
yeah.
a
Yeah.
fun one-off one that I'm so glad we watched because I had a blast watching this. This is definitely one you're like I'm like if you are of the age to pour a stiff drink and smoke a doob, this is the perfect
And
movie
just
for that.
watch,
And
yeah,
just
just
get weirded
literally, yeah,
out.
just get weird. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Gosh. Yeah.
And so that's the big reveal is that we find out aliens are in the car. Um, Emilio Estevez is brought into this plot of trying to get the aliens out to people so that the human race knows what's going on that the government doing.
Yeah.
The government is
Yeah.
actively trying to stop this. We mentioned the lady with the Michael Jackson glove who works for the CIA or FBI or whatever. So the government is out there actively trying to stop it. And it all kind of um, cultivates in the end where they have this big standoff with the government. For some reason Harry Dean Stanton is able to get his hands on the car, and at this point towards the end of the movie, the car is glowing green, like it is just a
This is
loop.
where it starts getting super weird for me.
Oh
Like
yeah,
the end of the movie,
so
and
they
matter of fact, the climax of the movie, like when they're starting to like try and grab the car, or even for a matter of fact, like in between them finally possessing the car and bringing it to the repo yard or whatever you want to call it. um there were a couple of Otto's old friends that have just been robbing convenience stores and stuff,
the punks, yeah.
and the punks, yeah, and so they just so happened to come across the Chevy Malibu, and they hijack it, because it was at a gas station, and they just stole the car and stuff.
Yep.
And first of all, they drop at a convenience store, and Otto is there, and there's just this fucking shootout in the freaking convenience store.
Hell yeah.
And I just have to say that like death scene for one of the punks so cringe. Like just how he died. Literally how he died and the noises that he was making on like his dying voice, like his dying noises, like like I'm just like, dude, just die already. Like,
Yes.
oh
It's
gosh.
overacting because it's an
Oh gosh, it
independent
was
film. These are
so
not
over it.
professionally trained actors. I will
No.
say, let me say this about the punks, because for each movie I had the best line of the movie. The punks deliver this because they're committing crimes throughout the whole movie in the background.
Yeah.
My favorite line of the movie is, "Fuck this, let's go do some crimes."
Yeah. Oh
It's
man.
like great,
Yeah.
right? That's good dialogue. You have like that's good
Oh.
dialogue. Fuck this, let's go do some crimes.
Yeah. So, and now, like, close to the end of the movie, cars glowing, CIA, FBI, whatever you want to call them.
All the repo men are there. All the government
Literally
is there
everybody's
from
there.
the whole
The
movie.
freaking the cult leader shows up
The preacher,
automatic, like
the cult leader preacher is there. It's
like
like
he's there.
it's like, why is every
Oh.
single member of the cast just there? And they're all like, oh shit, it's the big showdown. What's going on? And the government is trying to enter the glowing green car. Harry Dean Stanton gets out of the car. He is shot by
Well, he gets shot.
he gets
Yeah.
shot by the government, and Emilio Estevez is comforting him. And then who rolls out of the crowd but our guy, the mechanic, right? From the beginning of this review, the mechanic who's weird as fuck, who's like, aliens are real, the government, it's because technically he was right the whole time. Like, he was the crazy weird guy. He is able to get into the car and sit down in it. And he's just like, hell yeah, this is like
Yeah.
sweet. We're
He
going
even
great.
invited Otto into the car, like, come on, man, let's go for a ride.
This
And
is the
like,
best scene. This is the
and then
funniest scene.
Otto gets into the car, and then the car starts flying.
The car starts flying. Wait, and I just want to set this up too. So the mechanic says, Otto, come with me. Like, let's go on let's go on our grand adventure. The teen girl who he was in a relationship with.
Oh yeah.
She goes, the teen girl looks at Emilio and they're looking at each other and she's like, what about our relationship? And
Yeah.
he just looks at her and he goes, fuck that. And he just
Yeah.
walks right into the car.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
He's like, but yeah, he's like, dude, you're a high school or whatever romance. Like, I'm getting in the glowing green car to go on an alien adventure. Here's the thing. The aliens are supposed to be dead in the vehicle, but for some reason the car is glowing green. And at the end, just like in Greece, the car just flies away in this montage of flying over LA. And it's just like Emilio Estevez being like, yeah, this is so cool,
Yeah,
dude.
this is cool.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And the graphics look terrible. Like, it looks really, really bad. And literally, just like Grease, they fly away into happiness because this is Otto's story of like, what do I do next with my life? You know?
Literally, I think the flying car is a metaphor for just dropping acid. Like,
and let me see it, like as someone who takes psychedelics, like, I get that. Just dropping
like,
out of society,
100%.
just tuning out, dropping out of society, dude.
Yeah.
So I totally get that.
I think the only thing that was even remotely good about this movie, and I wrote it down in my notes, was the ending credits. Instead of the ending credits like rolling from top of the screen to down, it went opposite. So like the ending credits started scrolling upwards versus downwards. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
like,
it was. Yeah, that was a cool way of doing that. I know exactly what you're talking about.
that was honestly the only thing that was even remotely interesting about
Okay,
the movie.
so now you have to ask me, King, does this movie still hold up?
King, does this movie still hold up? And is it outdated?
Okay, so let's take the outdated part. Yes, it is.
Oh, 100%.
But here's the thing. I got this is an independent film. This was at a low budget. It was. I want to remind people, this was really well received when it came out. It has
I don't know how.
to this day, it has a 98% rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
That
It's
is insane.
an average rating of 8 out of 10. Um, it was just so the year that it came out, it was considered one of the best independent films that had come out. It's considered one of the best LA films that's ever been created. It's in the top 50 cult films from Entertainment Weekly. Roger Ebert, who I don't really care for Ebert and Robert. I don't uh, really respect a lot of their opinions a lot of times, just for whatever reason. He gave it 3 out of 4 stars, and he said, and his reasoning was, the week that I saw Repo Man, you guys got to understand, there were a lot of bad movies in 1984, and this is just better than those movies. Therefore, it gets a higher rating. So there's a lot of
Oh,
bad movies going on
wow.
here. And the question, so does it hold up? Or is it still relevant or anything? No, it's super cheesy and slocky. Does it hold up? I was thoroughly entertained and laughed, and it kept me. I was like, what the fuck is going to happen next? Why are there aliens in the trunk? Why are there
Yeah.
cholos running around town? What's the deal with Repo Man? Like, it just kept me like, I was engaged the whole time. It's 90 minutes. It's super quick. I'm going to say this. Okay. I think 98% on Rotten Tomatoes is a little much. I'm going to say this. I am giving this 6 beer cans that are just beer out of 10. So six
Oh,
six
God.
beers out of 10. That's what I'm gonna give it. This was fun for me. I had more fun with this than Class, for sure.
So we are on opposite ends here
Okay.
because I actually enjoyed Class more than I did Repo Man.
That's interesting. That is
Yeah.
interesting, actually, because I know you, because like I said,
I
we
mean, I
texted throughout the
still,
week. We texted throughout the
yeah,
week, and you're like, Class
yeah.
sucks.
It was like a total like bomb. Like, nope, this is a bad movie. Um, like I honestly laughed more in Class
Yeah.
than I did with this. This was just like stupid shit. Um like
Oh
this was
yeah.
just dumb. Like there was just so much going on in the movie. Like there was the Repo Man stuff and then there's the alien stuff. Why is there alien stuff mixed in with Repo Man stuff? Like what is the whole point of the alien stuff being in with the Repo Man stuff?
Yeah.
Like I don't understand. Like I don't get it. You know, um would personally, I think I would want a more proper Repo Man story versus like this silly sci-fi, like let's throw in aliens because everybody loves aliens. Like I honestly think that's what was going on in Alex Cox's mind was all like, yeah, we're gonna do this movie. It's gonna be about Repo Man and this punk kid who like becomes a Repo Man. But oh, let's not forget, let's just throw in some aliens into this because everybody loves aliens. Like, who
Hell
doesn't love
yeah.
aliens?
Hell
Like
yeah.
that's honestly what was going on for this movie for me is that like they just threw in the aliens just because because everybody loves aliens.
Oh,
That was like
100%.
the whole point of it.
Oh yeah.
Um
The-
for me, I am rating it. Um, I can't rate it any lower, but it is going to get a 1 out of eye patch guy. Like, I guess he was like an eye patch guy because like his glasses, he only had like one of
Oh
his
yeah,
glass
yeah.
frames were like
The
covered.
scientist who drove the car. Yeah.
Yeah, like yeah, 1 out of eye patch guy driving the Chevy Malibu out of 10.
There we
Like
go.
I
What's
can't go any lower.
and it's and this is I'm so glad, man. And it's real when I think about it in hindsight, because this series is talking about Brat Packs, and we're almost at 2 hours here, folks. So
We are at 2 hours
we are at two
already.
hours. The funny thing is, if you asked me before diving, because I'm reading everything I can about the Brat Packs. We got Andrew McCarthy's book. Brat,
Book.
an 80s
Mhm.
story that's going to be, he's going to be releasing a documentary about it, about his experiences. And
That I'm so excited
let's
for.
come back way down the line. We'll review the documentary. That'll be fun. And
Yeah.
but to me, I think it's so funny that we start with these two movies, because if you had asked me a couple weeks ago what I thought the Brat Pack was, these movies ain't fucking it. Like, I think these movies do not represent what is the
Oh
Brat Pack
no.
story to me.
Oh no.
So,
No.
and with our next
No.
series that we come out with, do we want to keep it secret? Do we want to announce what we will be covering? I'm down for whatever.
We can say it. Yeah. So the next two movies that we're going to be reviewing for this Brat Pack series is 16 Candles, starring Molly Ringwald,
Oh,
and The Breakfast Club, which has also Molly Ringwald, um, Emilio
Emilio Estevez,
Estevez,
Judd
Anthony
Nelson.
Michael Anthony Michael Hall, Judd Nelson, and of course Ali Sheedy.
It's the
So
quintessential one, yeah.
it's honestly the quintessential Brat Pack. This movie is honestly like the staple of the term Brat Pack, because
Yes.
it literally has the whole cast and the whole shebang and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Um
This is
and
one where we are both very excited. My darling wife is going to watch both of these movies with me, so I'm excited for movie date night with some popcorn.
has she seen them
I don't
before, or
actually, no, she hasn't. I don't think she's seen The Breakfast Club or 16 Candles. So it's like kind of exciting, because these are the movies I think
Ooh.
of. So I think it's fun. Like, I had such a blast this week, Danny. So thank you so much for including me on this. Class and
Yeah, I
Repo
think
Man.
this is honestly a great idea to do. So I'm
Yeah.
excited to continue.
And I have to say it. Go watch Repo Man.
Oh
Go
God,
do
no.
it. Go do it. I recommend it. Fuck it. Let's send
Oh
it, baby.
God.
I can't wait for more. I'm excited for more,
No.
Danny.
No. No.
No
No, please
more.
don't. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't watch it. Yeah, so we are going to next time you catch us, we will be doing 16 Candles and The Breakfast Club, and we're gonna try and get some in on that one, because I know she said
Yes. She loves those ones, I
she
think.
wants to do this series, but like she doesn't want to be in all of them. So mainly it is probably going to just be me and King, and um some with a few with some of like the movies that she wants to be a part of and
Mhm.
stuff. So yeah, so thank you, King, for joining me on this journey of watching weird ass considered Brat Pack movies. So um
Absolutely.
I'm excited to watch more Brat Pack, or at least considered Brat Pack movies that I have not seen yet. Honestly, majority of the movies that are on our list for this series I have seen at least twice.
Mhm.
Um so I think there's only like maybe a couple of movies on our list that I have not yet seen yet. So, and this is going to be exciting. So, thank you everyone for listening to me and King ramble on for at least 2 hours. Um, I hope you enjoyed this lovely ride of Class and Repo Man. If you do adventure into watching these, I will say you cannot these two movies are not streaming on any um streaming service like HBO Max or like Hulu or anything like that. I
Yeah.
know Class is on Tubi TV, but from what King has told me yesterday, there's like ads
Yeah. Oh,
a part of that.
there's hepatitis C medication ads. So
Oh God,
it's like
no.
bottom of the barrel ads that are like, ugh, this is like depressing right now.
No thanks. Yeah. I rented both of these movies on Amazon, so
I
it
did
was
the
like
same.
$3.
Yeah.
honestly, it was like $3. Like, if you're even remotely interested in watching either of these movies, you can easily rent them
Yep.
on Amazon Prime for like $3. So, but yeah, I mean, I definitely do not recommend watching any of these movies. So
save
neither of
your
these.
money, right?
Yeah, save your money, save those $3 for something better. And yeah, stay tuned for our next two batch movies. I
Yep.
get, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so we're gonna stay tuned for that and see you guys later.
Fuck
Bye.
this. Let's go do some crimes.
All right. I was gonna say something, but I lost it.
That's a good one to go out on, though. That's good to go out
Yeah.
on.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna cut it there. So.